This is Dr. Willie Jolley, and as you see, today's Monday school is a little earlier than our regular Monday schools because I have an event that I have to do tonight, and I wanted to make sure to get this in so that I wouldn't leave you holding waiting and anticipating a message from me tonight, and it didn't happen. I want to say greetings to everybody across the world, everyone in our community. Hope you're enjoying these Monday messages when we get them. Last Monday was Labor Day, and I was celebrating my birthday weekend last Monday. Actually, my birthday was on the 3rd. We had a great dinner with my wife. Then on the 4th, my son came in. On the 5th, I went to a cookout with a bunch of friends. On the 6th, I had my cookout party with my family. And then on the 7th, Monday was Labor Day, and I had a house full of family members all day long. So we didn't do it, and we had already said that we were going to skip last Monday because of Labor Day. Anyway, I want to greet everybody in the name of Jesus, who is the Lord of my life, and I hope it will have an impact on your life. I know that some of the people who are watching are people of faith who believe in Jesus, and some are people who say, I just like the messaging. And I'm okay with whatever way you come, because I know that the Spirit of the Lord is what is empowering me and inspiring me to do these messages, and it is about helping people. Helping people, that's what Jesus taught us to do, to minister, to impact, to inspire, to uplift people, and make this world a better place. And so for those who are not believers, I love you, I greet you, and I'm glad you're here. Please continue to come. And I want to greet everybody who is online, wherever you may be. Now, I'd ask a couple things every week if you'd do me a favor. One, I can ask you to continue to share this message with people in your network that on Monday nights, hopefully at 8 o'clock, but sometimes a little earlier because do my schedule. And then sometimes I have to skip it just for the fact I might be on a plane all day. But if you're able to tell everybody in your network that on Monday nights, I try and put a new message up to inspire and encourage and uplift people. And then the second thing I encourage you to do is to be a partner with us, to go to my website, jollygoodnews.org. Now, you know, williejolly.com is my regular business website, but then jollygoodnews.org is our faith-based website. And if this is a blessing to you, I'd ask you to give a donation, whatever donation you can afford to give that will be on your heart, that the Lord blesses you to give. Give it so that we can do some of the things we've been talking about doing, thinking about doing, planning to do. So we are hopeful that we can get the book, My Setback Set Up for Comeback, into every prison in America, to bless those people in prison and let them know that their past does not equal their future. And also to get my youth video, Dare to Dream, Dare to Win, into every school in America. It's the #1 selling youth video. People buy it, but I want to be able to donate it to schools and juvenile justice facilities so that we can start to have an impact on young people in different places. So hopefully you'll be a partner with that. So go to jollygoodnews.org and make a donation. And if this is a blessing, that's why I want to make sure I share that with you. Now, for those who I've been meeting as I've traveled around the country the last few months with the Get Motivated Tour, well, we're excited that the Get Motivated Tour is expanding not only to the Get Motivated Tour, but to the Stay Motivated event. So go to staymotivatedevent.com or Motivated Events. I'm not sure whether Stay Motivated Event or events.com. See when we're coming. We're coming to Richmond, Virginia this week, and then to Tulsa, Oklahoma, first of next month. And they've added a new tour that is very exciting called Business Masters Tour. Go to businessmasters.com, and we'll be coming to St. Louis end of October and Kansas City, Missouri, the end of October. I was just in Kansas City a couple of days ago and had a wonderful time. So hope to get back, and if you're in those areas, come see us. So here on the Get Motivated Tour, got coming up Richmond this week, Washington, D.C. next week, the 22nd, Raleigh-Durham on the 30th, then, of course, Tulsa, and then Philadelphia, Boston, San Francisco, Portland, and the new additions are St. Louis and Kansas City. Okay, God bless you. Now, Also, one more thing, and then I'll get into today's message. My Sirius XM show is going to be premiering this weekend on the 19th of September, the new season, and I'm bringing the best and the brightest thought leaders who are people who I found very interesting. People who are successful, all are willing to share their faith and how God has blessed them. You know, I believe that there is a God, and I know some people don't believe it, but there is a God. You know, how do we explain the amazing things that happen in my life? How do I explain it without a God presence in my life? So I'm grateful, and I give God glory. So I want to thank you for being on with me. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope that you'll enjoy today's message. Today I want to talk about, you know, for those who are new, I was for many months, since we started this earlier this year in January, focusing on the power of the P's. And the power of the P's are the P's that, the words that start with the letter P that impact us, that have a profound impact on our position and our placement in prosperity, and our placement in being the people that God placed us here to be. Well, we've talked about purpose, and we talked about persistence, we talked about perseverance, we talked about planning, we talked about prioritizing. I want to talk today about perspective. Perspective. In the book, The Purpose-Driven Life, I love that book. I give it away. In fact, I've given it away to numerous people. I've given it away to numerous people, and that's somebody calling. I don't know. Okay, I've given it away to numerous people over the years. My nephew, in fact, was recently here, and I gave a copy away to him and said, "Look, this is a book I think would be a profound impact, have a profound impact on your life." He's trying to find his way. He's about to graduate from college and wants to go to seminary. I said, you got to read The Purpose-Driven Life. I've read that, but I believe that you get in the life what you put into it. And so one of the things about The Purpose-Driven Life is that it talks about God's perspective, and that we have to learn how to think and perceive and look at life from God's perspective. And how do we do that? Well, the reason, or the key to that, and the reason why you'll be able to do that, is because you start to impact your thinking by your inputs. Inputs determine outputs. Negative inputs, negative outputs. Positive inputs, positive outputs. So what are you putting in every day to give you a new perspective? You know, the Bible talks about perspective, and now it doesn't talk about it just saying you got to have a positive perspective. What it does is tells you through scripture that you have to understand that this is more than what you see. And God is working things together in a way that you can't see. He's looking 300 feet from a different 3,000 feet, 3 million feet at us in our daily routines and saying they can't see what's coming down the road. It might look tough now, but something good is coming as a result of that. Perspective. I'm always making sure that I work on my perspective. I'm reading something positive every day to work on my perspective. Filling my mind up with the pure, the powerful, and the positive, because I want to work on my perspective. I want to be able to see things from a different perspective. I want to see them from the way God maybe sees them. How he sees positive, even in negative situations. How he sees good, even in bad. You know, somebody said in the Bible that what somebody meant for bad, God used for good. But you got to have the perspective. Joseph is an example. Now, Joseph's brothers threw him in a pit. He was given up for dead. And then one of them sold him off to some slave traders. He went to the Potiphar's house, and Miss Potiphar tried to sexually seduce him. And then when he wouldn't abide by it, she cried rape. They threw him in jail. He was in jail, but he didn't lose his perspective. He came out of jail after some time and was able to tell the Pharaoh what the Pharaoh's dreams meant. He became eventually the second in charge of Egypt. And those same brothers who threw him in the pit, who tried to get rid of him, had to come to him when the famine hit because he was willing to have a positive perspective. I'm encouraging you to have a positive perspective, even in negative, challenging, and difficult times. I'm encouraging you to have a positive perspective. So the Bible talks about it in different ways. In Romans 8:28, you know that's one of my favorite scriptures. For we know that all things work together for good for them that are the called according to his purpose. That all things work together for good for them that love the Lord and are the called according to his purpose. Now, I love the Lord. And I'm believing that even the things that were negative. So my book, A Setback is Set Up for a Comeback. Got fired, replaced by a karaoke machine in the late 80s. In the early 90s, after working with the school system, trying to figure out what I was going to do, I started speaking and have gone on to have a global speaking impact, a speaking business. Traveling around the globe, books, CDs, DVDs, television, radio, would not have happened if I'd never gotten fired. A friend of mine called me today, and he said, isn't it amazing? I'm very honored that on this Friday night, I am going to be given an award called the Champion of Business Award by the Concerned Black Men National Office, along with former Attorney General Eric Holder and CBS Sports announcer James Brown and Paulette Brown, who's the president of the American Bar Association, a female African-American president of the American Bar Association, which is the non-African-American, African-American Bar Association, the National Bar Association. This is the American Bar Association, and she's the president. And so we're getting awards. I'm one of the four, and I'm so honored. And a friend called and said, man, I saw the news report about you getting this award. Man, you could still be where we were 30 years ago in nightclubs singing if you hadn't gotten fired. Isn't it fantastic? Wow. It reminds me of a story. An old, wise father in a small peasant village had two possessions. He had a horse and a big, strong, strapping son. One day, the horse got out of the corral and ran away. And all the neighbors said, what bad luck. The wise father had a different perspective. He said, why do you call it bad luck? A few days later, the horse came back with 10 other horses. And all the neighbors said, what good luck. And the wise father said, why do you call it good luck? A few days later, the big strapping son went out to break the new horses, and in trying to break the new horses, one of the horses threw him off his back. He landed on his hip, and he broke his hip. All the neighbors came over and said, what bad luck. He said, why do you call it bad luck? And a few days later, the evil warlord came through town and took all the able-bodied young men off to war. And in the heat of battle, they were all killed. And the only one remaining was this one son who had broken his hip because he had sat on one of the horses that came with the horse that ran away. And the neighbors came over. Oh, isn't it great? What good luck. Oh, isn't it great that your son had broken his hip so he didn't go off to war and get killed? Isn't it good luck that he was able to get on that horse and have that horse throw him off and break his hip? Wasn't it good that the horse ran away and brought the other horses back? What a good luck, good luck. And the wise father said, luck? No. All things work together for good for them that love the Lord and are the called according to his purpose. Not luck, not perspective. And so I'm saying to you, in James 1:3, it says, the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Perseverance, hope. You got to have hope for the future. The old folks said it like this, we'll understand it better by and by. That you have to have hope that the future will be better, an expectation. So it's about your perspective. Do you see the glass half empty or half full? Do you see life as good and great and wonderful? Or do you see it as a challenge, overwhelming? Do you see every day as a day to get up and say, good morning, Lord, or a day when some people say, good Lord, this morning? It's about your perspective. And how is your perspective created? It's by your inputs. If you got nothing but negative inputs, you'll get negative perspective. You got positive inputs, positive perspective. See, in the desert, there are two creatures that are frequently seen: the hummingbird and the buzzard. But they're looking for different things. The buzzard looks for death, and when he finds it, he eats. The hummingbird looks for life, flowers, and when he finds it, takes the nectar. Folks, whatever you seek, whatever you look for, you'll find. I look for the good in life. I look for a perspective that's positive, upbeat, that are encouraging, because I want to be encouraged and I want to encourage others. I recently lost a dear friend of mine, the great DJ Bobby Bennett. If you look him up, he was a great DJ on Sirius XM, on WL Radio. We were friends for many years, and he recently passed away. I was in the airport when I got the news. My initial response was sadness. Like anybody, when you hear a loved one, somebody you love and care about, dies unexpectedly, you're sad. But I've learned about perspective. And so I have a technique. I understand that when you lose someone, you have to make a decision. When you have grief and you're despondent about that loss of someone, you have to have perspective. And so I immediately, after I'm sad for about a minute or two, but then I say, oh, Willie, okay, you know what you got to do? Yeah, I know. I got to make a decision. I got to decide, am I going to curse because a rose bush has thorns, or am I going to celebrate because a thorn bush has roses? Am I going to curse because the person died, or I'm going to celebrate because they came this way? Whoever it may be, if I loved them and they blessed me and then they were a friend of mine, then my life is richer because they came this way. And so I have to be able to celebrate. Think if they had never come this way. Perspective. I think about perspective with my mother and my brother. They both gone on to heaven. But I thank God for both of them, and I celebrated. My mom was 42 years old when I was born. And back in the 1950s, that was unheard of because people didn't have children after 40. In fact, the doctors told my mother, don't have any more children after my brother was born when she was 39. Said, do not have any more children. Do not have any more children. Do not have any more children. But thank God Mama didn't listen. That's why I'm here now. I would not be here. So I thank God for that perspective. My brother, gone on to heaven, died at the age of 48, 3 weeks after mother. And I was sad, but I had to have perspective. See, when he was 16 or 17 years old, I don't remember what, he had an old beat up Ford van, one of those hippie kind of vans. And he had an old van, and he was on his way to visit some friends. He was out on the turnpike, and he got in the wrong lane in front of a tractor trailer and almost was smashed by a tractor trailer, and the tractor trailer driver was able to avoid the accident. My brother pulled over and said, wow, I would have been dead if that driver hadn't avoided it. He was a new driver, so my brother was a new driver, so he made that mistake. He said, I won't make that mistake again. But think about it. He didn't have to live through that experience. He could have died at 16, 17. And I would not have had the next 20 some years with him, 30 years with him, 30 some years with him, if that had happened. So, perspective. I want you to work on your perspective. Look for the good. Look for the positive. Look for it. If you look for it, you'll find it. There's something positive in here. There's some good in here somewhere. I know it. I know it. It's perspective. Two little boys. They did a study on these two little boys. One had a positive perspective, one had a negative perspective. So they took the two little boys and they knew that they had these perspectives. So they put them in a room, separate room, and had a one-way mirror so they could observe them. The little boy with the negative perspective, they put him in a room full of new toys. And he sat in the middle of the room and he cried. Finally went in and said, "Why are you crying?" "Because I know that these toys are going to go away and I won't be able to enjoy them for a long time. And I just don't even want to bother with them if I can't have them for a long time." Negative perspective. Why don't you enjoy what you've got while you've got it? The other little boy, the positive perspective, they put him in a room full of horse manure. And they looked through they thought he would sit there and cry because all of this horse manure. He was jumping and having a good time and looking and jumping and having a good time. They said, "What in the world? He's just happy and crying." And finally went and said, "Why are you so happy?" He said, "With all this manure, there got to be a pony in here somewhere." Perspective. If you're going to be successful in life, you're going to be successful in business, you're going to be successful in your marriage, be successful in your endeavors, it takes a positive perspective. Work on it. Read my book. A great one to start with is It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life. Read the nice 1-minute messages to encourage you and inspire you, give you a positive perspective. And the greatest book you can read is the Bible. I read a proverb every day. I read it in two versions. I read it in the regular New King James Version, and then I read it in the Message version by Peterson. So I get both versions so I can understand how the original was written with a little twist, a little update, but then a new day, a new translation. It's fantastic. Perspective. I want you to work on your perspective. Will you do that? Amen. Well, my time is up. This is a shorter one than usual. We'll do about 20 to 30 minutes, but I just want to give you a message that will help you. And so I'm grateful that we were able to get in on this message today earlier than usual. So remember my two requests. One, I'm going to make a third request, by the way. I want you to tell everybody you know about it. Two is I want you to go to my faith-based website, jollygoodnews.org, and make a donation. Any donation you can. And then I want you to send me an email. Everybody who watches this, just send me an email and say, "Hey, Willie, enjoyed the message on perspective." That means I know that you're watching, that somebody's there. Because it'd be a bad thing to me to just talk to nobody. So just send me an email at willie@williejolly.com. WILLIE at Willie Jolley, WILLIEJOLLEY.com. Just say, "Hey, I enjoyed it. I saw it." And that way I know that this is a good investment of my time to do this. I need your encouragement and I need your feedback. So thank you. Have a great day, a great week. It's all about your perspective. Make that decision to decide not to curse because a rose bush has thorns, but celebrate because a thorn bush has roses. And be thankful for every day. Have an attitude of gratitude. It's about your perspective. God bless you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.